Jane, think about the faces you see every night, the ones on the periphery of the spotlight. The band leader who laughs at the monologue, the sidekick who sets up the joke. They become part of the furniture of our lives, don't they?
They do. They're a constant, a familiar presence in our living rooms. We feel like we know them, but we rarely know their story. And then, one day, they're gone. And the story that emerges is more powerful than we could have ever guessed.
And that is exactly what happened this week. Cleto Escobedo III, the longtime beloved band leader for Jimmy Kimmel Live, passed away. He was only 59 years old.
The news was broken by Jimmy Kimmel himself, and the tribute he wrote wasn't just from a host about his band leader. It was from a man who had lost a piece of his own soul. He said, "To say that we are heartbroken is an understatement. Cleto and I have been inseparable since I was 9 years old. 50 years, Joe. A 50-year friendship."
It's an almost unfathomable bond in any walk of life, let alone in the notoriously transient world of Hollywood. This wasn't a work friendship. This was a life partnership that just happened to play out on television. They grew up together, neighbors in Las Vegas.
And the stories Kimmel has told over the years, they're not just anecdotes. They paint a picture of a real, mischievous, deep-seated friendship. He talked about Cleto having a bicycle with a sidecar and how he'd drive a young Jimmy straight into bushes and garbage cans just for fun. That's not a press release friendship. That's real.
It's the foundation of everything. Think about the key facts here. Cleto and his band, the Cletones, were with the show since it premiered in 2003. For over 2 decades, he was the musical heartbeat of that stage. But the decision to put him there was, in itself, an act of radical loyalty by Kimmel.
How so? Because he wasn't a household name?
Exactly. Cleto was a phenomenal, Juilliard-trained saxophonist, a child prodigy even, who had toured with major acts like Paula Abdul and Mark Anthony. But when you get a network TV show, the pressure is to hire a name, a Paul Schaefer, a Questlove, someone who brings their own brand.
But Kimmel refused. He told ABC that he wanted someone he had chemistry with, saying, "There's nobody in my life I have better chemistry with than him." He was so nervous the network would reject his friend that he personally took the ABC president to see Cleto play, and thankfully, the executive loved him.
That's the pivotal moment for me, the what if. What if the network had said no? What if Kimmel had caved and hired a bigger, more established name? Would Jimmy Kimmel Live have had the same warmth, the same feeling of a tight-knit family?
Absolutely not. That authenticity is something you cannot manufacture. And the family aspect was literal. Kimmel didn't just hire his best friend. He suggested Cleto hire his own father, Cleto Escobedo Jr., to play sax in the band as well.
And that story is incredible in its own right. Cleto Sr. was a fantastic musician in his own right. His old band was admired by Elvis and Sammy Davis Jr., but he had given up his music career in the 70s to be home and raise his son. It was Kimmel's idea to bring him back, to give him a second act playing alongside his boy on national television every night.
So you have a man who gets his dream job, and his first instinct is to share it with the 2 men who are most important to him, his best friend since childhood, and that friend's father who sacrificed his own dream for his son. It's a level of decency you just don't associate with show business.
It redefines the whole dynamic of the show. It tells you that the loyalty and the love were the point. The music, the comedy, the fame, that was all secondary to the relationships. Cleto himself said he was eternally grateful because Kimmel, quote, could have tried to get somebody that was established and would help the show more, but he trusted me with this job.
And that trust was repaid 1,000 times over. You saw it every night in the easy way they interacted, the shared glances, the inside jokes. We, the audience, were just let into a friendship that was already decades old. We weren't watching a performance, we were watching a conversation.
It makes Kimmel's tribute all the more poignant. The fact that we got to work together every day is a dream neither of us could have ever imagined would come true. They were 2 kids from Vegas who loved David Letterman, and they grew up to have their own version of it, together.
When you see a public figure grieve like this, so openly and with such raw emotion, it cuts through all the celebrity noise. The show was abruptly canceled last week, and now we know it was likely so Jimmy could be with his friend at the end. It reminds you that behind the cameras and the applause, there is just profound human connection and profound loss.
In the end, Cleto Escobedo III was more than a band leader. He was the living, breathing symbol of a promise kept, a testament to the idea that you can make it to the top and you can bring the people you started with along with you. He was the steady, soulful note in a loud and chaotic world.
A reminder to cherish your friends, as Kimmel wrote in his farewell. A beautiful life and a beautiful friendship. He will be deeply missed.
This podcast combines verified reports with expert analysis and narrative storytelling. Some dialogues may be dramatized for clarity, but all facts are sourced from credible media.